Hey, so we're going to look at three ETFs. One is XLU, which is utilities. That's currently on the screen. We have XLF, which is the financial sector, and then SOXQ. This is a specialized one that just focuses on the semiconductors as opposed to technology. This is just semiconductors. And so let me just share the tracker here. You can see some of the other stocks we recently did, notated in these different colors. The colors over here, I think what I meant to do here was make this all blue. So again, the colors down in the right corner, we have green being a buy, red being resistance slash possibly want to sell, take some profits there. This purple is, we actually bought into those stocks right around that date. Not necessarily that date exactly, but maybe the next day or 2 days after. And then blue is fair value. That's what I think is like just a fair price, or it's currently at a fair price today. And then just to kind of go over the columns, so we have the stock right here in B, what it currently was at when we checked, and buy points here, resistance slash sell points there, and then some notes. So these are the three that we're going to go over in that order. XLU for the utilities, XLF for financial, and SOXQ, which is semiconductors. This shows the last time we looked at it. So let's just scroll over to the utilities one, which is, again, right now on the screen. I'll just double check. Okay, now it's on the screen, so it wasn't correct. So XLU, last time we looked at them, it was on 4.9. And so if we just zoom in here, 4.9, that was right around here at about $69, maybe, yeah, 69. That's what our tracker shows. We had buy points at 60 and 66. So 66, that would have brought us back to this yellow line. And so to just take a step back and look at the what all the markings are. So long term, we have this purple uptrend channel, which has been intact, we're saying, since about 2009. So about 14 years, it's been in this uptrend. Sometimes it goes below, sometimes it goes above. More recently, of course, it's gone extremely above. And so this would have been an indicator based on that purple uptrend that we should probably be taking profits at this point. And right now we're back in that trend, close to the middle of it. And then the yellow was the more hyper extended trend line that seems to have fizzled. But then again, it's dropped below twice before and it's bounced right back. So this could just be a buying point for that type of uptrend. So we're kind of taking those as two different factors or metrics in our analysis. And then more recently, probably about the same as the yellow in terms of weight, it seems like the green point is like a low support line of 60. So if we were to buy, say, at like 64, seems like it's a good spot also, which is like right where it is. I actually say 63, which we had 66 and 60. So probably want to update that a little bit. Resistance, I didn't have resistance, and that's just based on the upward trend that it's been on for the past 13 years, 14 years. If anything, we would just take profits on the overextension of the purple range, or maybe in the yellow range, depending on how things weighed out. But overall, it just continues to go upward. And so that's why we didn't put a resistance point. We can put something in there as far as like a short-term thing, just so we can be aware of it. But yeah, so going back to the horizontal lines, that's, we didn't put a resistance line, so that's why there's not a red line, as we've seen in other charts before. But the blue line seemed to be sort of a resistance, but we've seen plenty of bars above that line. And these lines were really reflecting about 2021 till today, so about a 2-year trend, very similar to the golden uptrend. But we had this buy point because it seemed like it dipped that to that level 1, 2, 3 times. The blue was more resistance. So if anything, I would say the way we would have updated this is make this more of the resistance point. If I were to put a fair value mark in here, let's see, horizontal. Let's make this one blue. Let's zoom in a little bit. Blue would be like right around here, and I'll make this thicker. And of course, I could have put this in a little bit higher or lower, but that seems to be where it kind of bounces at, and that's just based off of 1, 2, 3, 4, and now 5 times where it's like touch that point, and it might just bounce back up. So that blue line, you could argue that it is a buy point. You could do that, and then fair value, it would just be somewhere in the middle there, but we'll keep it here. We might want to raise this buy point, but for now, that's a nice little update for us. So I guess just going back to this in terms of updating our tracker, right away, let's just update the date. So we're sitting at 6/1. Currently it's at 64. So it was 69. It's come down to 64. And just for our reference, it was 4.9 when we last checked. So that's right around here. So it was here, and ever since then it's, it was flat for about a month, and then it pulled back to where it is today at 64. Buy points, I think I didn't mention this. Everything was here except this midpoint, I believe, and I might have added the purple, all 3 line. I might have done that. I know for sure I put in this midpoint for us, which is like a half purple, but just kind of, again, it's the halfway point roughly between the 2 lines. And if I didn't, I'm pretty sure this was here before, the most outward purple lines for the trend line. So in terms of a buy point, now looking at it again, today at least, the buy points for me would be, say, 63. The first time I would look at it today is 63. If I had to pick other points, all the way down to 60, maybe 59. So not big of a range, but we'll put that in there. So like 59 to 63. And in terms of resistance today, I would say probably 69. Actually, I would say 67, 69, and 72. So let me go through that one more time. 67, 69, 72. Okay, so 67, 69, 72. The notes that we put on this one is the average yearly return for this following the purple line, which is pretty similar to the golden line. It's more just it got shifted up. And if we kind of zoom back out a little bit, that's kind of expected with this. It kind of jumps. Like overall, it does. But it seems to like cool off. So, it rallies, kind of trades sideways, rallies again, sideways. For, let's see, the sideways are about 12 to, it's less than a year. And then the rallies seem to happen from like 12. The rallies are about a year. It'll trade sideways for about a year. rally, sideways, rally, sideways. Like that's kind of the trend. And right now we're trading sideways. We've been trading sideways for about, I could probably argue 21 till today. More specifically, yeah, still 21 till today. So we've been trading sideways for about 2 years. So we could see a pop here pretty soon. Very possible. I think we still need to trade sideways a little bit more. Based on where it is right now, we would need to trade sideways for, oh gosh, it's saying like a whole year. But if we're in this yellow line, we should be going upwards pretty soon. It's kind of 50-50. I'm going to give more weight to the purple line, which means we would still need to trade sideways a little more, as opposed to the yellow line based on just how long these trends have been in play. Because again, the purple trend line, that's been going on for about 13 years versus the yellow lines only about 2 years. So we're just going to give priority like that. Anything else I can add here? I guess something that I've been doing is adding in a box of where I think this one might end up come the end of the month, second quarter. So end of the month would be, let me zoom in a little bit. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, 7.7. I would say we're likely to be in this range. That's still a pretty big box. It's a big box, but it's really just, that's $5. That's a pretty big box. I'll bring this down a little bit just to, be a little more risky, I suppose. I think it's going to keep flowing downwards. And again, if we zoom out, that downward trend, that just gets us back into that 13-year trend line right about in the middle. At that point, it could bounce back up towards the upper part of that purple trend line, or it could continue to kind of chop sideways until we get to the bottom of that upper trend line. I would need to look a little bit further into it. I'm going to update this color just so we know. And then as far as, let's see, the third quarter, if I had to guess for the third quarter, let's see, third quarter's right about here. For this one, I would imagine it's going to stay, whoops, didn't mean to do that. I would imagine it's going to stay within this range. I think it could come down here. No. Possibly up here. Yeah, that's pretty good. So that's kind of the windows that I'm looking at right now. So overall, like if I had to give this one a score of a buy, resistance, or a fair value, let's just see real quick. So it's at 64. We had buy points marked at 63. So it's right there. That gives it something. 63, and that gets us to the midpoint. So I'd give it overall a fair score right now, only because I think it's going to continue dropping. It's very close to a buy point. Again, just $1. It's on the upper end of the fair value point. If it was below, it all depends on what you think is best. But so that's just the update here for XLU. We're giving it fair, but again, it's very near to a buy point. I wouldn't mind it. It's also near a resistance point too of 67, so not much wiggle room there. And overall, 5.4% return on average per year over the past 13 years. Fair value. So XLF, that's the next one. This one I did update a little bit prior to this, just to kind of save us some time. We put in this uptrend, which very similar to XLU in the fact that it's really gone way above and beyond that uptrend. This one starts back in, we could say 2008 it started. So about 15 years, it's kind of stuck with this channel. It's definitely gone above. It's more likely to go above than below. That said, it's gone above, I would say, 2 times. You could argue this is one long time or two separate ones because it does pull back in the range, but then pops back off. And then, of course, most recently, it's been up here. So we could probably, what we can do is put in this other parallel line here. We'll match this, maybe not exactly, but so if we kind of go up here till maybe like that, that might be too far. Something like this, and to bring that, whoops, to bring this in. Oh, I see what needs to be done. How can I do this? Bring this out. Why can't I do that? They're both turning it? That doesn't make any sense. One should be like raising this. I don't get it. Huh. That's pretty good though. I want to bring this in then. Something like that. We'll make this gold. Just so it pops. I'm going to make this a darker purple. Again, so it pops a little more. Okay. So that gold line, we could argue that's been intact since like 2016. So about 7 years it's been in that. It's dipped below once, technically twice, and it's gone above once, technically twice. So that has some weight behind it. Again, about 7-8 years. We're near the bottom of that yellow uptrend. Something to think about. Definitely decent weight behind it, considering 7-8 years. So I guess let's look at our tracker. Last time we looked at this was 430. So if we look at 430, that was right around 33, if that's what we have. But that's this point. So it's really just gone down since the last time we looked at it, which is about a month ago. Something of note, considering that purple line, it only goes up about 4.3% each year, so something to keep in mind. In terms of a buy point today, so we have a couple. Let's keep zooming out. The buy points we have would be right around 30. We have 30 all the way down to about 25. So we had 30, we're going to add 25. Because again, I think I added that purple uptrend. It wasn't there last time. So 25 and 30. Resistance at 40. For me now, I would say resistance, I think this 40 is off the table at this point. I don't think it's going to touch that type of high anytime soon. But for today, I would say resistance would be at 36. 36, possibly 30. So 30 and 36. So right there, I mean, this one could go either way. I don't like when they do that. I'm using a different method here, I realize, but it's never good when there's a buy point at 30 and a resistance point at 30. So I want to see which one kind of like is the more dominant one. So again, the purple trend line, that's been intact for, what do we say, 13 years, versus this yellow trend line, which has been intact for like 6 years, from 16 to 23, so about 7 years. The more recent time, if we zoom back out more, I mean, the thing is there's overlap between the purple trend line and the gold trend line. So there's still, but it seems to have escalated. That's the thing. Can I work with these yellow lines? And then can I bring this up? Oh, I see what it's doing. So if I did that, and then I pull this down, maybe not that far. Something, maybe a little bit higher. Something like that. That seems reasonable. Plus it kind of catches some back here. You know, maybe that yellow line is more accurate than we're giving it credit. It's just like two sides of the coin. The yellow line seems to have more dips below it. You know, we have one really long one, two pretty long, 3, 4 was long, versus one massive one that was up. So, but I guess near term, again, going back to about 2016, 7 years, it's only dipped below that point once, one really long one. We could argue that was 3 times, and 2 of those 3 times very short, very painless. It's gone above it 1 time. I would probably give it the override of the yellow, gets more weight in this case. So I would say the buy point is 30. I'm going to remove resistance of 30, and we'll keep it at 36. And then I want to update today's date to today. Overall, I would say this is near a buy, actually. Very close. I'm willing to wait on this one. Again, just because I'm thinking it's going to keep going downwards. It's definitely getting close. Very close. Again, the buy points. Buy point is 30. 30. Yeah, what I'm gonna do if I can is make it bold. So 30 is like a very good buy point in my opinion. If it goes lower to like a 25, that's even sweeter. Overall, like, so what I did with the last one is kind of think where would this one be at the end of the month, and so we'll draw that up real quick. By the end of the month, so June, about here. Draw a box up. Let's make it black for us. Or we'll make it this. Okay. I think it's gonna be right in this range, you know? Right between about 30 and 32. I think by the end of the quarter, there's a chance we can grab this one at 30. I think that'll be a good find. We'll see if we circle back to it. I'm going to mark this one blue as fair, and I'll share that with you shortly. In terms of next quarter, projection right now would probably be, let's see, so next quarter, right here. Whoops. Oh, that's good. Okay. Next quarter, I would say more or less the same size bar, just a little bit higher up. That's all. And that's just, again, going off that yellow uptrend. I think that is the more dominant one, even though it's less years. It's been going long enough that I think it's like impactful. So that's pretty much XLF. So again, gave a fair value. It's currently at 32. Buy point is at 25 and 30. 30's been made bold because I think that is the real buy point for this one. 36 is resistance. So again, not much wiggle room there, which again, that kind of feeds into that average yearly return of 4.3%. So you're not going to get the best results. And again, if you're buying it at fair value, nothing wrong with that. So SOXQ, that's our last one. This one's a newer one. So if we just zoom out, this is exactly what I mean. It was started back in 2021. So it really only has 2 years worth of information. That said, I think it might be nice to share this on the tracker, what we started doing is adding the concentrations, the top 10 holdings in each one of these ETFs, just so we have an idea of who's actually in that sector if we're not as familiar with it. It's marked red right now because I kind of felt like it's probably at a peak right now, and we'll get into that shortly. So hopefully this is readable for us. So overall it's red, again, because I feel like the ETF is at a peak level. And so I imagine if we were to dig into any of these, if not all of them, they're also going to be near peak levels. And you probably don't want to buy them at this point. But of course, we'll see. And so what I try to do with each of these sectors, especially when it comes to dips in those sectors, possible buy points, it's nice to look into what are the top 10 holdings, what's helping that one push up or down. And so within SOXQ, I marked, hopefully it's distinguishable that there's these darker red ones, and I'll tell you what they are. They're NVIDIA, AMD, Qualcomm, Intel, Micron, and ASML. We already covered these. So we have a very good understanding of this sector particularly. And we also have other semiconductor stocks that, for whatever reason, aren't on here. Like TSM is a big one in the industry. I'm very surprised it doesn't have more than 4%. I thought they were more important than that, especially considering ASML is included here. Just very surprised TSM hasn't been, they're not in the top 10. But again, I just want to point that out, that those are what's in this one and what's really pushing it. So NVIDIA and AMD, I know those have been really pushing the limits lately, and that kind of feeds into these very big bars, especially over the past couple weeks. That's when they've been popping off. And I have to imagine other companies within it, Qualcomm, Intel, Micron, Broadcom, they're all kind of getting impacted by that in a good way in this case, because clearly the price has been going up. That's very good if you bought at the bottoms. It's just now we're at the tops, and so we want to play that accordingly. Because again, we're trying to add on, build out positions, and of course make money. But going back to SOXQ, last time we looked at this was at 4.8. So if we look at the chart, 4.8 was, where are we at? 4.8, right around here, so $24. Previously, we thought good buy points were $23 and $19. So pretty good buy points. And again, the 23 was based on this purple uptrend, which hasn't been intact that long, but about a year. And 19 is our green line. And these lines pretty much represent the whole graph here. And you can see we're actually poking ahead of our previously marked resistance point. I'm going to make that one darker. But I think the uptrend on this one's going to last for a while. I'm not sure if it's this type of uptrend, but I do think this one's going to have an uptrend for a while. That's another reason why we picked it to follow. Out of all the other pieces of these sectors, I like this one. And then we had resistance at 24. 24 was this red line. We probably should have said 27, but given the time of it, let's see, 24 was a little low actually, but clearly I saw something at the time. Probably should have been 27, but you know, the more we see it, the more we kind of grow. And I'll just share this if we didn't see it already. So SOXQ down here, it was 24. Those were our buy points, sell point, and then the date. So we're going to update that one right now. And then we noted it's in a slight uptrend. That's still true today. So looking at this one again, and just kind of updating the tracker. So right now we're at 27. So it's gone up $3. Again, we were back here, I believe. So 24, you can see it continued to pull back. So ideally, we probably would have maybe bought something in here because we said 23. And then it's picked right back up, got back in the uptrend. So not really unusual there. I don't think we bought down here. I guess we thought we could get a better deal. The average yearly return on this, I don't think I did that. I can do it for this uptrend, I think. I'll look into that. Yeah, I think we can do that. I think. Yeah, we should. So a buy point for this. So today, a buy point would probably be, considering the uptrend, 25. Considering our graph here, all the way down to 19. I think at this point, it's good. And in fact, what I'm going to do is add another fair value line in here. We're going to put it, so that was more, that had some resistance, but, I think right around here, it might act as resistance. And again, it's not exact what I'm doing. I'm sure I'm putting it on the high side. I think I could easily drop this down, or actually I could pull it up a little bit. Or wait, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong line. This one, yeah, I mean, I could pull it down to maybe like 22, but I think, knowing what I know at this one, at 23, we'll put it here-ish. So why I'm putting it there is because it acted as support back here in 21, again kind of in 22, then it ultimately broke it, and then here we are again, more recently, just a couple months ago, kind of acted as support, dipped below, but then here we are, bounced right back up tremendously. And so I just put that in. So for buy points for me, again, today it would probably be 25. And I guess 23. I guess. We'll just say 25. Right? 25? Yeah, we'll just say 25 for today. Resistance today is like right now, 27. So resistance at 27. I'm comfortable with that. Keep it simple here. Okay, so this one is going to be red because it's at resistance. Nothing about it screams a good deal today, but of course things can change over time, so we'll keep track. And then in terms of like where I think this one might be by the end of the second quarter, aka the end of the month, I would probably say, did I make that too big? Nope. I'd probably say, let's zoom out a little bit. I think this one's coming up. What I want to do here is add in a trend line. I want to try to just match it. That's pretty... Oh, geez, what happened here? Pull that in some. Like that. Pull that down. Like that. Okay. And then let's put that in right around here. Yeah, so I think this one, pull this up, probably in this range. I mean, it just dipped. All right, I'll bring it down here. Can I make this pull out? A little more, a little more. So like there. Let's pull this guy out a little bit. think that's okay. And then this one, hopefully it reaches. Pull this one out to here also. Okay, I think I did it. Yeah, I can't tell. Should be out a little bit further. Okay. And as far as that blue line, I guess it's symmetrical. Or like right, or parallel. Okay. So I think in terms of by the end of the month, yeah, I'm okay with that. 27, is there much? There's something. I think it burned a little hot in honesty, so let's pull it down just a little bit further. So I think that's more the range. I feel like that's not surprising, but who knows? And then by the end of the third quarter, where I see this one, probably in this range, so probably shouldn't be surprising. So if we just draw a box like that, pull it up, I mean, we should be up there. So I think we're still going to have a window of opportunity to catch this one at like 26. Again, we're at 27, so if you wanted to buy in on this, I'd be okay with that. I think I'd be okay with that. Again, our buy point's 25. We might not get that low, in all honesty. 25. Again, because that would be the bottom today, and we're all the way at the top. So I think realistically, 27. 27 is probably a decent price. Because I think it's more, I think it's most likely, I think worst case scenario, it'll kind of trade sideways, but slightly down, but it'll just even out over time. So I'd be okay with this one. It's, I guess we can give it fair. Am I comfortable with that? It's too early to tell. I mean, again, this one's just been around for 2 years. That said, it's been in this uptrend for about one of those 2 years. So it's kind of 50-50. I like the uptrend idea for the semiconductor, so I am going to give this priority. And I would say 25, 20, 25. Okay, so nothing changed really. But I am tempted to give this one fair value, which I think I'm going to do. Yeah, we'll give it fair value. Okay, so this one's a little deceiving, but you know, this is it. This is the end of it. So SOXQ, it's currently at 27. Ideally, we would like it at 25. That could still happen by the end of the week. There's one trading day left, so I don't know if that is feasible, but it's only $2. I think it's hard to move an ETF like that, though, but who knows? We'll see. Resistance is kind of at 20. How did I pick resistance? Resistance up here at actually 28. We're saying 28. So we'll make it a little bit nicer, I suppose. And that's how we got fair value, is that the resistance is at 28. It's at 27, so it's within our range. Again, it's on the upper half of our range, so it's fair value. And I'm comfortable with that. So here it is. Let me know your thoughts. If you think the buy point, resistance point are off, do you have something different? Or if you just have any questions or want to add anything that I might have missed, that'd also be great. Be happy to read that. Otherwise, please like, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye. Let's see.